Om Sadashivasamarampham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So, any questions, clarifications on what we have seen last time? I think the 30th verse we saw last time. So, about half a dozen verses. Any questions, clarifications? They are pretty simple verses, but still. Okay. Then, now look at it. Krishna started the teaching with a bang. Okay. The highest truth revealed straight away. The self as consciousness, as the world as mithya, Brahman as satyam, in the verse na bhavo vidite sataha, etc. All that very, very elaborately he had done. Then he had said, even if you are talking from the functioning standpoint, vyavahara, and talking about yourself as a jiva, etc., as a being that is born, etc., then how to handle that? Then naturally, when you are talking about yourself as a functioning entity, then the question of dharma, adharma, etc. comes into the picture. Natural. Because a functioning entity is important. Therefore, now, in the next few verses, he is shifting focus there. Okay. Arjuna had started the problem from a personal issue, became socio-political. Then the question of moksha, which is back connected to the personal issue. Because moksha is always a personal issue, not a social issue. Okay. Yeah. So, he started answering with moksha. Then it came to an individual. The individual gains moksha. But this is ardha angikara. Until you are clear about the knowledge, you function as an individual. And then the question of dharma, adharma comes into the picture now. So, if we look at the way it is presented, dharma, adharma is only prasangavashat, because it is topical. The main thrust of the Gita is in terms of moksha. This has to be kept in mind. Gita is basically a moksha shastra, a shastra that is dealing with moksha, dharma, adharma, etc. incidentally, as connected to how much you require in terms of your life, and more than details of dharma, adharma, he talks about how to do dharma, dharma, with what spirit you must do it. How do you live a life of dharma? What is the spirit behind it? Okay. Because he doesn't list out what you should be doing, what you should not be doing, etc. There is no rules and regulations, etc. mentioned. Only broad principles given. Why an intelligent person should be able to make out from the broad principles what you apply in your life. What you apply in your life is always limited. Dharma is universal. Okay. We will deal all with that in detail when it comes to that. But now look at it. 31st verse. So dharmam api cha veksha na vikampitum arhasi dharmyadhi yuddhat shreya anya kshatriyasya na vidyate. So dharmam api, your dharma. Now your dharma depends upon your position in life. Varnashrama dharmas are there. Not caste, okay? Please don't translate it as caste. That's obnoxious translation. Varna. The Varna that you belong to, the ashrama that you belong to. Varna is in terms of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay. And ashrama in terms of Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprasthi, and Sannyasi. Both of them mix up. Because every Varna can take sannyasa. Every Varna had education. which Prasangavashat, because it is topical, I am also mentioning. There is a writer called Shane Pollock from US. Okay, considers himself a great philosopher, etc. He has made an obnoxious interpretation of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Ramayana taught the Hindus to fight against foreign invasions, meaning the Muslims, Christians, etc. He mentions that, okay. Mahabharata taught the Hindus to fight against their own cousins, like Dalits and lower castes, etc. This character has the audacity to write something like this. Of course, a lot of scholars have dismissed him, but he has got a lot of funding from anti-India forces and are deluded secularists. Okay. Yeah. Including some of our industrialists, has funded the universities that he is teaching in. The most obnoxious interpretation ever possible. Why? Because at that time there were no Muslims. At the time of the Ramayana, were there Muslims? Muslim is the latest religion, no? Islam. 6th century AD. Yeah. Ramayana was at least 5000 BC. Where is the connection? Yeah. And we never had a concept of Dalits. Yeah. Yeah. Dalit, etc. is modern terminology. It never had. In ancient India, it is not there. Yeah. So be careful, because these type of works, when presented logically, they look fine, you know. Especially if you are ignorant of the source materials. Anyway, he says, keeping your dharma into account, swadharma, your own dharma, is a varna, you belong to the Kshatriyas. Varna is your profession. Based on color, color is red, black and white, which I will deal with later. Okay, red, black and white, not just black and white. Okay, where is the red coming in, you have to see. So I will deal with that when at the appropriate time. So as a Kshatriya, ashrama, you are still a grahastha ashrama, therefore you are functioning in the society. If as a retired person, it's different. Though there is nothing like a real retirement, you can come out of retirement any time. Okay. Bhishma wanted to retire long back. He wanted to become a sannyasi. But circumstances were such that he was forced to be the power behind the throne. So keeping swadharma in view, he says, na vikampitum arhasi. You should not be shaken from your duty. How can you be shaken from your duty? What you are supposed to do? Yeah. Why? He says, dharmyadi yat shreyaha, dharma yuddhi. Dharmyadhi, indeed. You are getting a dharma yuddha. This is not a war of aggression against somebody else. This is a war to set right lot of wrong things that has been happening. Of course, anyone who goes to war or stands for an election claims that he is going to set everything right. Like the party that amended the constitution 75 times is saying we are going to save the constitution from further amendment. That is a claim everyone makes. But here, Krishna as neutral. Why? Because he divided army one side, he on the other side. Both are my people. Says from a dharma yuddha which you are getting, he says, anyat shreyaha, something better. Na kshatriyasya vidyate. A kshatriya doesn't get anything other than that. Why? You are trained for battle all your life. You are living the life of a warrior. That is your highest function that you can do. And here you are getting a dharma yuddha, a war where you are supposed to re-establish dharma. What better chance is there than this? What can you get better than this? I also was wondering, really, then some years back, quite a few years back actually, I was called by the Indian Navy to take a couple of workshops for them. This was about how the naval officers and the civilian workforce, how to interact and work in harmony. Because the culture is very different. An officer gives an order to a sailor, ordinary sailor. He'll say, yes sir, and it'll be done. You tell a civilian worker that, हाँ साहब, and you don't know where he has gone after that. A senior officer gives a group of junior officers, hey, this is a project, I want you all to carry it out. Yes sir. And they will find the resources, that and carry it out. In civilian life, they'll all start discussing it first. When will you take action, God knows. So, to overcome these, I was asked to come and do a workshop for them. I said, fine, I will do that. Basically for the officers to understand the civilian perspective. So I saw all officers, smart looking guys. I said, a long back, I was one of you all. But tell me, is there anyone here who has seen action in the 71 war? Because the last time the Navy took part in a serious action was in 71. One or two ships have gone and handled some pirates, etc. That is recent, couple of years. That is minimalistic. Yeah. And barring one person, the commanding officer, none of the others had seen action. At one level I was happy. Why? There was never such a threat to the country that the Navy also had to get involved. That's a big thing. The Navy in Indian context with our enemies, the Navy is getting involvement is a big thing it is. That way I was glad. But the other time I was also feeling sorry for the guys. Why? Another 5 years, 10 years they will retire and they never got a chance to function at the height of the thing they were trained for. Pity, na? Imagine having an MBA in finance and never making a financial decision for the company. Tragic, no? This is worse. Because the level of competency and functioning is phenomenally high. Never been tested in battle. I felt sorry. I really felt sorry for the guys. I was fortunate to have seen some, little bit. But I was really sorry for these guys. All their lives and not being tested in battle. What the heck? Similar. Therefore, can you relate it to what Krishna is saying? Dharma Yuddha. Hey, come on. Is there anything better than this? Yeah. Yeah. Of course, Arjuna has been tested in battle many times. That is true. He has fought many a war in his time. But this is Dharma Yuddha. It is not over some other issue. Therefore, he says, there is nothing more shreyas than for a Kshatriya than this. Yeah. But hey, it's a battle. Can you ever guarantee you will come back alive from a battle? When a soldier goes, we all tell our family and all, don't worry, I'll be back. Before the child's next birthday, I'm back. There's no bullet with my name on it. We say all that. That is to reassure the family. But you can never guarantee you'll come back alive. You can never guarantee that. In fact, you go into battle thinking, victory is certain. But my life coming back or not is not certain. In fact, I will die, but I will win. I will kill and I will win. I will die and I will win. That's the attitude. Arjuna is familiar with it. Krishna is also equally familiar with it. Therefore, he says, Yadrchaya chutpannam swargadvaram apavrutam sukhina kshatriya partha labante yadidrisham. Yadrchaya, by chance, by fate, by karma, prarabdha. Yadrchaya cha utpannam. It is opened. What? Swargadvaram apavrutam. Yeah. The gate to heaven, Veera Swarga, apavrutam. You are dying with your boots on. The doors of heaven are open for you. He says, Sukhina kshatriya partha labante yuddham idrisham. Therefore, happily a kshatriya will get into this battle. Yad idrisham, happily a kshatriya will get into it, he says. Right? Yeah. That's all that is there. Kya hai? You want to live and become old and feeble and useless in life? That you need somebody to wipe your bottom? What life is that? What life is that? You want to grow old? Yeah. Feeble. अब तो बिल्कुल बूढ़ा हूँ, गोली खाकर जीता हूँ. Even that is okay if you are functional. What else? Yeah. All right. Then he says, yeah, Sukhina Kshatriya. Yeah. In fact, later on, I am going to read that verse, the 37th verse in conjunction with this. Okay? Because it flows well with that. Hatva va parapsase swargam, jitva va bhokshase mahim, tasmad uttishta kaunteya, yuddhaya krita nishchayaha. Hatva va prapsase swargam. Dying, you will go to heaven. This is different from being a martyr. In Abrahamic religions, etc., the concept of being a martyr in battle. This is not that. This is you died with your boots on, you are doing your duty. That's it. You are not martyred for a cause, etc. In fact, we didn't have that idea of martyr and things like that. You die, you fight in battle, you did your duty and you died. Fine. Hats off. Yeah, you fought the good battle. That's it. The Hatva va prakshase swargam. You're dying, you will get Veera Swarga. Anyone who dies in battle, if it is doing his duty, okay, he goes to heaven. That's the idea. Okay? Jitva va bhokshase mahim. If you win, the kingdom awaits. If you die, you get that kingdom. If you live, you get this kingdom. Yeah. Therefore, it's a good deal. No? It's a good deal. It's not a bad deal at all. It's a good deal. Yeah. But what about my wife and children left at home? They are Kshatriyas themselves. They know what it is about. Kshatriya women all over the world were the ones who gave the sword to their husbands. Yeah. Yeah. The last act of goodbye was here, your sword. In Greece, Sparta especially, there was a tradition. Come back with your shield or on it. Yeah. Come back carrying your shield in your hand because you're victorious. Or dying, your brothers are bringing you, carrying you from the dead, as your dead body on your shield. It is not easy being a warrior's wife also, okay? But they had the right attitudes. They could handle that grief. That grief would be replaced by pride, would be replaced with a sense of fulfillment of a duty well done. They won't go about tom-tomming I gave my mother to the nation, I gave my father to the nation. You won't tom that. Yeah. Yes. Well, it's expected. Yeah. And many women follow their husbands into battle. That also happens. Their men folk into battle. That is also there. Not in the Mahabharata. Yeah. Later, Islamic invasions, etc. Therefore, here it is not a bad deal. Either way, you are getting a good deal. Either way, you are getting a good deal. What do you? Now, you are looking at it from your duty standpoint, na? Whether we will win or lose, or we don't know whether we will be won over by them or we will win over them. All that Arjuna had said earlier. What are you bothered about? Yeah. What are you bothered about? Yeah. That is the attitude of a Kshatriya, okay? Then he says, okay, what will happen in the other way around? Atha chetu imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tata swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam apsyasi. Atha chet, otherwise. Imam dharmyam sangramam, this dharma yuddha, na karishyasi, if you don't do, then tataha, then swadharmam kirtim cha hitva, falling from your dharma and your fame. Arjuna was a great warrior until the battle started. Hitva papam avapsasi, you will incur sin, he says. He was talking about the sin of killing kith and kin. Hey, this is dharma yuddha. Can a judge in the High Court say, oh, this is my son, I cannot sentence him? Nowadays they do. They rescue themselves out. I don't think that option should be there. I think the judge should have that integrity and that impartiality to be able to do what is necessary. But human failing, recognizing human failings, they say, no, you can rescue yourself. Yeah. One of my friends was a doctor, a surgeon. Mother came for surgery. So the boss said, would you like to rescue yourself and find another surgeon? He said, no. This is why. And my mother, I care for her more than other people, so I'll do a good job. Yeah. I'll do a good job. Operating on your own mother, why not? That's the spirit. You'll do a good job. Because every middle-aged lady is somebody's mother or the other, isn't it? Somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter. So he says, if you don't do your duty, that is a greater sin. Yeah. You're failing in your duty. The whole Pandava army is depending on you to take out all the mighty Yodhas on the other side. Yeah. No one but you can stand up to Bhishma, Drona or Karna. Nobody else can. So how can you withdraw now at this stage? Yeah. Okay. Akirtam chapi bhutani katishanti te avyayam sambhavitasya cha akirtim maranadati uchyate. He says, akirtim api cha bhutani katishanti te avyayam. They will heap on you. Katishanti. They will talk about what? Akirtim cha avyayam akirtim. Endless akirtihi. Notoriety. Okay? Akir. Notoriety. They will heap on you. And sambhavitasya. Sambhavitasya, one who was held in high esteem by the society. Arjuna meant, wow, someone, something. Yeah. When Arjuna entered a sabha, everyone wanted to greet him. Why? Arjuna, the warrior, the greatest archer in the land. Wow, something. Yeah. So, such a person, akirtihi, falling from grace, people criticizing his decision. He says, Maranadati uchyate is worse than death. Is worse than death, he says. Hey, why? Will they not recognize that I became a pacifist? That in the interest of not killing, I gave up my kingdom. Will that not be a great thing? Watch. Bhayadranadu paratam mansyante tu tvam maharataha yesham tu bahumata bhutva yasam se laghavam. Duryodhana has all the weapons of propaganda with him. All toolkit is ready and waiting. It has been in use also, trying to undermine the Pandavas. Yeah, the toolkit etc. is ready. So what will they say? They won't praise you as a great one who sacrificed and renounced everything. They'll say, Bhayad Ranadu Paratam. You withdrew from battle because of fear. You got scared. Bhayad Ranadu Paratam. Masyante, Asyante, Tva Maharata. All the Maharatis will say, what happened to Arjuna here? Such a great warrior. He lost his nerve. Greatest battle of the term, and he lost his nerve. Yeah. This is very different if you are comparing it with Iliad, for example. Okay. Homer's beautiful work, Iliad. There, the hero Achilles is also wrestling with the decision to go to Troy or not. That is different. That's long before the battle starts. Long before the battle starts. Yeah. He is there. Ajamamman has sent out the call for everyone to join forces for the sacking of Troy. And Achilles is still deciding to go or not to go because he doesn't like the king. He says, poor leader. This is not like the battle has started, now what? Battle has started, now what? Okay. Therefore, Bhayad Ranadu Pratam Masyante Tvam Maharataha Yesham Tvam Bahumuto Bhutva Yasam Se Laghavam. Who held you in high esteem, they will think little of you. What do you say in Hindi film style? Ijjat ka faloda ho jayega. This used to be an expression in Hindi movies, Amitabh Bachchan movies. Ijjat ka faluda ho gaya, Ijjat is your honor, etc. Made faluda out. Meaning, faluda is a sickly sweet mixture of stuff. God alone knows what all they put into it. Can enjoy it once in a way, but it's too sweet. Yeah. Say Laghavam. Not only that, he says, Avachavadan Bahun Vadashanti Tvavahitaha Niddanti Tava Samarthyam Tato Dukkataram Nukim. Avachavadan, words I can't say. Bahun. Okay. Vadishyanti Tavahitaha. People who don't care for, they will talk, completely putting you down. Just imagine, you should imagine this, Arjuna withdrew from the war, the battle is over. Kauravas having victory celebration. So two common soldiers bending their elbows, sitting on a table and bending their elbows. Victory celebrations after all. And one young soldier says, I don't know what happened to Arjuna here. Yeah, soldiers, okay, Balam, ordinary soldiers, not Maharathis, ordinary soldiers. I don't know what happened to Arjuna here. He was such a hero. I didn't expect him to be scared and walk off like that. and his companion, an older man, handlebar moustache. And say, what did Arjuna ask of Krishna to do? Put the army, put the chariot between them. And where did he put? The other man said, he put it in front of us. Here we are standing on the ground. I was shivering in my boots. That's you. I looked at Arjuna and twirled my moustache and gave him a look. And Arjuna lost his nerve. This character was standing next to him and he was also shivering in his boots. But when a couple of pegs have gone in, you get a different view of reality. हाँ रे हो सकता है. Yeah, I was also standing next to you. Now, why should this disturb? Why should this disturb? If you are rooted in this knowledge, it won't disturb. Yeah. Okay. But you also have to understand the times and okay, where honor meant everything. For a Kshatriya, honor meant everything. Arjuna is not yet a wise person. He is just being taught, right? And he leaves everything and goes. And he hears all these stories in Rishikesh, assuming he went to Rishikesh. Rishikesh was a popular place to go right from those days. Once upon a time, it was known as a source for Vedanta. Now it is more yoga than Vedanta there. Okay. Yeah. Vedanta only 2-3 ashrams. But every nook and corner there is a yoga teacher coming up. God knows what they teach. Yeah. But whatever. So assuming he went there and he hears all these stories, and how do you think he'll feel? The drive of a Kshatriya is still there. At the same time, the value of honor, etc. is there. He did it out of a love for peace, out of compassion, but he's being painted as a coward. How will you all take it? You know what is one complaint I hear all over the world from people? The most disturbing thing for them, for everyone. Nobody understands me. Everyone wants others to understand. Even a simple thing, you did something small for someone. You want that acknowledgement. Okay. And here you are being deliberately painted black. The biggest act you did in your life, in your decision, out of compassion, was to walk away. And you are being painted as a coward for that. There cannot be more disturbing than that. You know, after 71, when we came back, every soldier was treated as a hero. Whether he had seen action, not seen action, wearing a uniform. No? I remember I was wearing my Merchant Navy uniform, and in the bus the conductor would refuse to give me a ticket. Say, nahi saab, aap log ko ticket nahi. Can you imagine a state like that? And once the supervisor was there, the conductors usually have once in a way a supervisor. So I told the supervisor, he is refusing to give me a ticket. Saab, rehne do na. Let it be, sir. Small things we can do. Wow. How nice you feel when somebody is acknowledging it. You will see this in US and all very often. When an army man is in uniform and they are waiting to board a flight. Even though business class passengers are given the first right of boarding, they'll all wait for the army person to go as a mark of respect. Thank you for your service. Big thing it is, I'm telling you. It'll never happen in India, okay? India, whether you're in business class, like economy, cattle, whatever, is a mad rush. Indian sudhrega nahi, thoda time lagega. Another generation has to go. Yeah. Anyway, that apart. But you know what happened after the Vietnam War? Soldier following his order fought that battle and came home. Baby killer, that. They are shocked. Yeah. We just did our duty by going and fighting for our country. We loved our country. We risked our life and limb for it. And we are accused of all these things. Yes, a small platoon did a mistake. Agreed. Did a crime. Agreed. Hang them. But to paint the whole thing. In fact, all those veterans, many of those veterans required therapy to get out of that problem. First thing, the death and destruction they have seen. The stress they lived under. Vietnam War is not an easy war. Yeah. In fact, psychotherapy gained a boost after that war. Because so much of veterans required therapy. Youngsters exposed to battle and coming back didn't know how to handle. At least if they are acknowledged and appreciated in the country, they would have handled it by themselves. But that was not there. So Arjuna, that will be your case. I am trying to contextualize what Krishna is saying to understand this, in modern terms. Arjuna was a hero, all right, but not infallible. He also had his own emotional reasons. I mean, I hold him in high regard. Great. One of the greatest students of Vedanta. Greatest warrior, one thing, but also a great student of Vedanta. Why? Because at the end of the Gita says, fine, it's all I'm clear. It doesn't require years of nididhyasanam, etc. Mananam, all that is not necessary, he is clear. So I will consider him as one of the greatest students also. But at this stage, he is a fallible human being. Therefore, he will have the same emotions, etc. How do you think he can go and face Draupadi? Krishna doesn't say all this, but he should read between the lines. Draupadi had sworn, I will not tie up my hair unless you wash it with the blood of Dushasana. How will he face Draupadi after that? Even if she doesn't say a word, a woman's silence can sometimes be more damaging. I'm sure all the women here know that. Men also, if you're married. Those who are not yet married, don't worry, your time will come. Okay. Or at least not married into a good relationship. In a good relationship, then you will understand that. So, with all this he says, how are you going to handle the whole thing? Nindante tava samarthyam. Your capacity as a warrior, your intention as a sadhu, as a seeker, both will be questioned. Tataha dukkha tu kim. Ordinary soldiers will start questioning. The guys who used to tremble at the sound of the Gandiva, because this was war bows. War bows are heavy weapons to handle, okay? I think many of the men would have gone to the gym sometime or the other, isn't it? And you do that single arm rowing, single arm rows. You put your hand on the bench, you take a dumbbell in your hand and you do rowing, correct? Bring it to your waist and lower it again, bring it up to your waist, lower it. What is the maximum weight you all could handle 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 10 reps. In fact, 50 pound, 10 reps is quite good, isn't it? That is similar to the drawing of the bow. A war bow, 150 pounds, 200 pounds of pressure to pull it. And how many times in a day in a battle? Few hundred times. There 50 pound, 10 repetition we using. Good. My upper back workout is good. 10 reps on each side. This they are doing few hundred times with 150 pounds. So that bows, that string of that bow, when you twang it, that sound will resonate. People who would shiver at the sound of the Gandhiva will talk ill about him. He's a coward. And now in this stage you can't do anything about it. No? How many people are going to go and fight? You gave up fighting to come and study. Now here you feel like going back and killing all those characters. Hey, you can't do that. There's no war declared. There's no war declared. So you can't do that. This will come with an inappropriate renunciation. Like when I walked away to study, people said that, some of them, a few, 2, 3 people. Hey, he's a failure running away from life. So I said, theek hai yaar. Fakkad banu. I'm not, I didn't say I'm the great seeker. I said, I'm a fakkad yaar, aur kya. ऋषिकेश जा रहा हूँ, एक नुक्कड़ में रह जाएगा. It didn't bother. बोलने देना. Why I had been there, done that. हो गया. Nothing left undone. Taken care of. Responsibilities, duties, everything taken care of. अभी क्या? Early, yeah, before I could pick up the next stage of responsibilities of Grihastha etc., I walked away. That in-between time is very good for walking away. From one stage to another stage to another. In-between time. Especially that stage between brahmacharya and grihastha. Nowadays, because of long education, etc., there's always a stage like that, where you experiment with a lot of things in life. Good stage. If you can't do it then it will be after your retirement time. Yeah, vanaprastha time. Uska pehla time nahi milega. In between, you will very difficult to get that time. Yeah. Anyway, those hooks apart. Krishna knows for sure Arjuna will find it difficult to handle. Because look at his name and fame he had. Sambhavitasya. Someone who held in high esteem. What will be your emotional condition? Will your emotional condition be conducive to study if you hear all these wrong things about yourself? Even today's world, it is important to see that. People, instead of recognizing your commitment to being a seeker, saying you are a coward and a runaway from life, you are a failure. How will you? Can you laugh it off? Add to it. अरे failure क्या रहे, मैं loser हूँ. Can you say that and laugh it off? Don't think the world is going to respect a decision like this. Be ready, it is not going to. Then you may be pleasantly surprised by a few people. Yeah. Yeah. Like my parents' greatest fear, one of the fears, not greatest, one of the fears was when people come, those days, when people come with a marriage proposal for your kid sister. What will they say if they find the elder one has gone, eldest brother has gone to become a sadhu? I said, don't worry, I'll find somebody nice for her. And by God's grace, the couple that came forward at the proposal said, my God, your son has become a sadhu. Hats off to him, we'd like to meet him. God's grace. May not always happen, okay? May not always happen. Yeah. So, what will be your mental state? That is the whole question here. In today's life, when you are walking out. In fact, I would say there must be a few people who criticize you for such a decision. Only then you will know your mental state. Like, a couple of my students came and asked me, Swamiji, we want to go and study under Puja Swamiji, this, that, what do you say? I said, go talk to him. Will you put in a word? I said, first you talk to him. It should be between both of you first. I couldn't put in a word there. I deliberately took a tough stance. Why? It should be their decision. Then they went and spoke to Swamiji, etc. Swamiji accepted them. Then Swamiji asked them, did you speak to your initial guru, Brahmavidananda, about this? Swamiji, we did, but he said, I have to come directly and ask. Swamiji started laughing. That's the right thing. He knows what it is to be a teacher and deal with full-time students. You should do this on your own. He will be 100% supportive, but that first step you have to take on your own. Otherwise, you are counting on support to be there. Being a sadhu is removing all supports. Remember, we are a sadhu, we are not a monk. Though we say monk always, or a monk. Okay. Now, monk has an institution backing him up. There is protection, there is support, there is available. A sadhu is one person under the sun. A sannyasi, one person under the sun. There is no support systems. The Lord is your support, nothing else. And if the Lord is your support, what other support do you need? That mindset, that freedom. If you have that, you are ready for it. I know, because many students of Vedanta will always toy with this idea. Am I ready for something like that? Okay. Then, back to the 37th verse which we saw partially before. No? Hatva va prapsase swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmaduttishta kaunteya yuddhaya kritanischaya. If you die, hatva prapsasi swargam, Veera Swarga is awaiting you. Jitva tu bhokshase mahim. Living, winning, you enjoy a great kingdom. Tasmat, therefore, uttishta kaunteya. Hey kaunteya, uttishta. Get up. Yuddhaya kritanischaya. Not get up to go to Rishikesh. Yuddhaya kritanischaya. Having a firm resolve to fight this battle. After that, if you want, we will see about going to Rishikesh. Yeah, after that, they did go, but much later in life. Why? They inherited a kingdom where most of the men were dead. They had to rehabilitate the widows, the children. Nation building had to be done. All the Pandava wives had a great role in that. You should read the Mahabharata for all this. Huge role. Headed by Draupadi. They were not sitting back and enjoying a kingdom. They were rebuilding the nation. Took them 10-15 years to do that. Yeah. Because all the adult children were in the battle and died in the battle also. Yeah. Then rehab, build up the nation again, build up family, society. Then 36 years after their reign, they handed over the kingdom to the grandkid and walked away. Yeah. Therefore, he says, here, yuddhaya krita nischaya. And how will you fight the battle? Here, sukha dukkhe same kritva, labha labho jaya jayo, tatho yuddhaya yujjasva, naivam papam avapsasi. Here is a tip how to fight the battle. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Treating, bringing down sukha and dukkha as the same. They are not the same. Sukha and dukkha is not the same. Yeah. Your son fighting next to you made a wonderful shot. Sukha. Mera beta hai. Next minute 2 arrows enters his body. This is war, remember that. Turn to what are you? Sukham dukkham cha same kritva. Bringing them to the same level. Okay. Labha labho. Gain and loss. Gain, profit and loss. They are different. They are different, very different. But keeping them the same. Very few manage it. There is an India coffee house in town near the share market. In Bombay, I am talking about, okay, in share market. So sometimes my friend, who's a chartered accountant, I meet up with him before the class, evening class, and we'll have a cup of coffee together. I can make out, and all the share market players come there for a coffee. I can make out who has made money and who has lost money. The guys who have made money are bravado and this, I made a killing, this, that, etc. And the guys who have lost money, tears, long faces. You just have to look around, you will know who it is. Labha and gain and loss are not the same. On a share market we are talking about, okay. It's a game. Making it the same. Jaya ajayo, victory and defeat, making it the same. Making it the same. Very important to be able to handle defeat. Sometimes I have a lot of, when I used to do my corporate training, a lot of MBAs sitting in. And MBAs are very cocky, assured characters, especially if they come from a good institute. And one of my projects as part of my training program is to be sure that they will fail. I have a little game device, little activity device, and I know with their attitude they are not going to crack it. 100% I can give it in writing. I must have played that game about 300 times and only about 3 groups have managed to crack it up to now. Suresh knows that game. I played it with his people also, a great time. It was such a fun thing. Yeah, it's a fun thing. Because victory and defeat are not the same. But you have to be able to handle that defeat. Handle that defeat. Jaya ajayo. Tatho yuddhaya yujjasva. With that attitude, yuddhaya yujjasva. Take to this battle, he says. Yuddhaya yujjasva. Naivam papam avapsyasi. You will not incur any conflict, any sin, any this thing, anything wrong. Nothing will happen to you. Wow. That looks like a promise. Yes. How do I get there? How do I have such a mindset? How do I have such a mindset? That is the next level. Okay. The next part of it, the next part of the second chapter, okay, when it deals with certain attitudes with respect to your action, your functioning, etc. So can you see how the flow is so nice? The truth, if you understood it immediately, fine, no issues, you're free. Okay, not understood that. As a functioning entity, can you take birth and death, etc., facts of life, etc.? Then as a functioning entity, your duties. Then with what attitude you do your duties. That is the flow. That's the flow. So actually speaking, the second chapter is complete, Gita. So now it goes into Buddhi Yoga after this. Okay? The next verse onwards. But the aim of the whole thing, of the next few verses, is to be like this. Remember, there is a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can do this, if you can do that, if you can keep your heads when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Like this, there are a lot of if you can do this, if you can. It's all describing this only. This is what, of course, there he ends by saying that you are a man. Okay, you are a woman also. Okay, in today's world equally well. But the idea is, this is what a competent student of Vedanta will be. If you don't study the Gita to become this. Labha, labho, jaya, jayo, all that thing. You don't study the Gita to become like a person like that. You are supposed to study the Gita to become a person like that and then know the height of what Gita has to teach you. But even if you stop at that level, you have achieved something in life. Okay. Even if you can achieve that much, you have achieved something in life. Actually, Gita is much more. After that, the real study starts. It's like what we say in martial arts. Hey, I got my black belt today. Good. Now your real study begins. Before you get black belt, there are 10 belts. Black belt is a 10th belt, okay? In most grading systems, you pass 10 exams before you get the black belt. That means 5 years. And then the teacher tells you, now your real study starts. Similarly, you become like this. Sukha dukkhe samaye krutva, labha labho, jaya jayo. Then moksha opens up for you. Then moksha opens up. That is how it is. Yeah. Your real study begins then. So how do I get there? Elaborately explained, but next class, okay? We'll start getting into that. Come back if you have any questions, etc., and we'll see that, okay? Om Tat Sat.